guys, so today for our stories I thought I would do something that people ask me about all the time, which is my makeup brush collection, and then I'm going to show you how I wash my brushes. So here we go, these are the brushes I've got with me. I don't have everything with me, but these are obviously my most used ones, which is why I've got them here. So let's start with powder brushes. I think that's the easiest one to begin with. So here are my powder brush collection. So let's start from the big ones. These are from Lim. These are my main face powder brushes. I have one for matte and one for glowing powders, but honestly, that's just being bougie. They are the best brushes. They're so soft and fluffy. I just love them. This is my bronzing brush. I actually think this one's been discontinued now, but it was an absolute gem. I love the angle it has for it. It's really nice and fluffy. It's from my Kitco, but like I said, I do think it's discontinued now. I use this brush all the time. This is from Dior, and it's actually I think it's their blush brush, but I use it in my Hourglass palette because it's a perfect size and it's a really good all-rounder. Then I have this Sensai brush, which is my favorite powder brush for blush. It's just really lovely. It has this really light, fluffy texture, and it's the perfect size for my cheek, so I use it every single day for blush. And then we've got 3 Sigma brushes. The small contour brush is great, obviously, for contouring and also for using smaller bronzing palettes. It's a really good one. Then I have this one. This is the soft concealer brush. I use this small domed brush to apply setting powder under my eyes and in targeted areas, and it's got a really nice domed top for that. And then this one is a tapered highlighting brush, which is what I use for my highlighter, and it has a really nice light fluffy touch. And these are my brushes for liquids, so concealers, foundations, creams. These are the brushes I use for them. I love to use exactly the same brush from Lim, the powder brush, which is their big fluffy one, as a foundation brush. It is fantastic. Mary Phillips uses it, and it just gives you this really beautiful light airbrushed look. I still love my Artiste brush. It's great for applying foundation. It's extremely soft and applies a very thin and even layer across your face, which is really lovely for natural makeup and also when you're in a rush. Another real favourite for me for foundation is this Bobbi Brown foundation brush. It's a very universal brush. It works with so many different foundations. It's a really fantastic one. They're not too expensive. It's a great product. This Dior foundation brush, I literally only use with my Dior Backstage foundation, but because I use that foundation so much, and I think this brush is by far the best for applying it, it's just something I have to have in my kit. So if you love that foundation, I really recommend getting this brush because it really applies that foundation better than anything else, and that's the foundation that I pretty much always use during shoots. 2 little concealer brushes that I like. This is the new Hourglass one that came with their new Hourglass concealer. It has a slightly angled head and it's a little bit domed and it's nice and fluffy. It's great. And then this is another really great brush. Again, this one is from 2 little concealer brushes I like here, one from Zoeva and one from Hourglass. The Hourglass one is the new one that came out with their concealer. It has this nice domed fluffy top with a slight angle, which applies concealer really nicely. And this one from Zoeva is just really great for spot concealing. It blends really beautifully and I just really like it. So it's a great all-rounder. Then we've all got to have a beauty blender, haven't we? So got a classic beauty blender. And these are my eye and lip brushes. So they are predominantly from Sigma, and I'll go through each one with you. These are my 2 favourite blending brushes. You can see how well loved they are. The paint's cracked a little bit there on the side. They're both from Sigma and they're just really great. So this one's a great general domed fluffy brush, and this one has a tapered edge, which is great for getting in to angles and with a little bit more control. These are my 2 favourite brushes for the crease. They're just great for blending colours out, for sweeping. You could honestly use this one for pretty much everything. They're just great shadow brushes. So one of them's from Zoeva and the other one's from Sigma. These 3 are my detail brushes. So the pencil brush on the end, that one is just great for getting a really clear line. So smudging things underneath by your lashes or doing a firm line on your crease. This middle one is a really great one for applying shimmery products to your lid. It's a shader brush that's just really great for kind of stacking that shimmery or cream shadow on. And then this little one on the end is perfect for blending out eyeliner. It's really stiff and short, the bristles, and that's what I use it for. Brows, I use this random toothbrush. I have no idea where I found it. It has kind of synthetic and natural bristles, which just work really well, to be honest, and so I always wash it and keep it. And then I have this really prehistoric brow comb and lash comb rather, and brow brush, and it's just really, you can get these everywhere. I think I got this one from Sally's years ago, and they're just really useful. Lashes, I use these little silicone ones. You can buy them in multi-packs from Amazon, and I wash them and reuse them, and they're just really good for combing out mascara when it gets clumpy, or like arranging your lashes. Really useful tool. And my favourite lash curlers, as you guys know, are the Shiseido ones. They're really fantastic. Finally, my favourite lip brush is a Sigma one. Hi guys, so we're in the bathroom now, and I'm going to show you how I wash my brushes. So this is just a normal bar of soap. I always talk about this. It's literally just any brand of bar of soap. It doesn't need to be a special brand, just a simple bar of soap. And I just run the water warm and wet the soap. Then, and this works for sponges as well as it does for brushes, just wet the bristles of all of the brushes. And then I, even with shadow brushes, will take more than one at a time like this. And I just literally work the soap into the bristles like this, like I'm painting the soap. That's all I do. And just make sure you're getting the soap really nicely into the bristles all the way up. And then you can rinse them off. And then I redo that probably twice. You can see how much has already come out of the brushes just from one rinse, but another one will just bring out more. So again, just brushing it on the soap. You can see how a lather forms more after the first rinse because you've got rid of the grease that was in the brush, and you can just massage down into the root of the brush all the way down to make sure you're getting all of that powder, both sides, and then rinse off in some warm water. You want to make sure you get all of the soap out so that you don't get left with any suds in those brushes. So really massage the bristles through. When you think you've got it all out, I just give mine a good shake, and then I towel dry mine. So I literally just take a normal towel and press the brushes. That's all I do. Even just from padding them, they come out quite dry. I just squeeze them basically so that they keep their shape, and then I put them back in a jar for them to be stored, and they dry like that. That's it. For a sponge, it's exactly the same thing. You're just going to take the bar of soap. You can see I've got some foundation on there, and it's nice and wet, the sponge, and just work the sponge into the bar of soap all the way over, just massaging the soap in. Once you've got a good amount of soap, you can add water again and just squeeze your sponge out, and you'll start to see the foundation or the concealer leaving the sponge, going down the sink. Once you've given it a good squeeze and a rinse, you can repeat again. You see it's getting paler, the marks, and you basically just keep massaging your soap through and then rinsing it out until it's clean. And it doesn't take very long. It takes 2 or 3 rinses. And you get left with a nice clean sponge like that. So yeah, I do exactly the same process for bigger brushes as small ones, and it works perfectly. That's the Bobbi Brown brush, freshly towel dried and all ready to go again. So it really works across all brushes. I used to spend money on expensive brush cleaners, and I've tried loads of different products, and honestly, this has just ended up being the best method for me. I find it super easy to do. After I apply my makeup, I wash my foundation brush after each use because that's where a lot of bacteria hides in those liquids. Shadow and powder brushes I leave for a little bit longer, but I think that it gets them really nice and clean, and it's super easy and affordable. I'll add a swipe up next to all of the brushes. I'll do the face ones first and then the eye ones in case you're interested in any of them, and do pop any questions in the box here that you have for me about brushes.